Chat отражение стримера. No, I don't talk about my 12-inch boa in my pants. I have a coochie. A coochie. Alright, let's do it. How a $3 hot dog uncovered a $24.7 million lottery scam. I want a hot dog. I haven't had a hot dog in so long. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So how do you achieve the American dream if your dad doesn't own an emerald mine? You walk into the store, you plunk down $1, and with nothing but luck, you win the lottery. And while that's a great dream, of course, I mean, we all know the odds are astronomical. But what if we could maybe control those odds? Or better yet, eliminate them completely? Illegally winning a mind-boggling $24 million over the—
$24 million! If I even had $2,400, that'd be sick, man. That's so much money, $24 million!
the course of a decade. Eddie Tipton's considered the greatest lottery cheat of all time. But you gotta ask, how the hell did he pick the winning lottery numbers multiple times for over 10 years? Well,
how did nobody catch this motherfucker?
It's kind of simple. Eddie Tipton worked for the lottery.
Wait. Hold on. Wait, was Vince Vintage the same guy that did the documentary on the guy that did the McDonald's lottery? And then he was like giving away prizes to like the mafia? I don't think it was him that made that video, but this is like the similar thing, huh? Yeah, the Monopoly scam in Canada and stuff. Like, that was insane.
On December 29, 2010, the Hot Lotto in Iowa held its drawing for a $16.4 million jackpot. Now, the winning ticket had been purchased at a Quick Trip convenience store in Des Moines, Iowa. Why would you live there? But for
yeah, why would you live in Iowa? Ew. Chad, have you ever bought a lottery ticket? My parents bought one each one time. They did that once. And then my parents laughed and said that lotteries are like taxes for the poor. Yeah, my parents bought it once for fun when it was like a really big draw and they didn't win, obviously. But they said it was like the taxes for the poor. It's a stupid tax, yeah.
Someone, the American dream, became very real. But then the ticket went unclaimed for days, and then it was weeks, and then it was months.
Well, it's been almost a month since we had announced that we had a hot lotto, $16.5 million hot lotto winner. The person who has purchased or owns this ticket probably doesn't know that they have it.
And then it was nearly a year. Now, believe it or not, the lottery officials actually want the money to be claimed. It's good PR to have the big winner holding a big old check. And in the meantime, they were flooded with over 200 fake winner claims. Oh, my friend who died in a car accident had the ticket. The winning ticket to my grandma's casket. But what the public didn't know was they had a video of the person buying the ticket along with the serial number. And anyone that wanted to take the claim had to verify both of those, which no one could nearly a year later. Now, public reminders were issued every single month, and it even made national news about this unclaimed ticket, because 1 year after that purchase date, the $16 million ticket would expire to nothing. Now, 30 days before the expiration date, Canadian attorney Philip Johnston called
Canadians.
and provided what no one else could, the correct serial numbers for the winning lottery ticket. And he had said he had purchased the ticket himself, but then said he could not personally deliver the ticket because he was too sick to come down from Canada. Maybe it sounds a little sketch, but
why did they have to animate him like shaking like that? Look at that.
Just the ticket himself, but then said he could not personally deliver the ticket because he was too sick to come down from Canada. Maybe it sounds a little sketch, but they asked him what he wore on the day that he bought it.
Right,
Philip paused. He was wearing a tweed jacket with dress pants and dress shoes. Now, although he gave the correct serial number, the man in the video buying the winning ticket was wearing a hoodie and sweatpants. He was lying, so they didn't give him the jackpot. Now, a week later, Philip Johnston calls in again, but now with a different story, stating that he had actually told a little white lie, that it wasn't him that bought the ticket, but he was representing the winner of it, and he was a wealthy man who wanted to remain anonymous. Now, there's just one problem with that. It's against the rules of the Iowa lottery. All winners' names have to be made public, but they still didn't want to reveal the winner's name. But then on the
Epstein.
final day, down to the last hour before the $16 million ticket expired, an attorney from New York shows up with the actual winning ticket in his hand.
We've been looking for 365 days for this, and with 1 hour and 50 minutes left, the two individuals you just met brought us what we believe is the winning ticket for the Hot Lotto jackpot.
But this time, the ticket was signed by a trust in the Belize, and the trust beneficiary was a shell.
And they just let them have it? Chat, for those that don't know, this is what money laundering looks like.
Shell company in Belize, and who was the president of that shell company? Oh, it was Philip Johnston, the attorney that called in the first time.
We've got to make sure that we're paying the right amount and the money to the proper and appropriate persons, so we are not paying this particular ticket today.
Then, in a last-ditch effort, the attorneys asked if they could claim the money in cash and then turn it over to the state and they could give it to charity.
But lottery lawyers declined based on concerns about the legality of the purchase, possession, and presentation of the ticket.
We couldn't verify the winner.
Now, the attorney...
Yeah, they fucking shoved their noses up your ass about lottery ticket claims. They will flip over everything you own.
Attorneys were so angry at this point that they actually threatened to sue the Iowa Lottery until they realized that they would have to actually reveal the real winner's name in the court case.
The lottery received yet another
Epstein,
letter. The
bro.
purchaser of the ticket has elected to remain anonymous and withdraw the claim. And to think all that person had to do was provide birth date and address, and they would have walked away with millions of dollars.
And the $16 million jackpot went to no one. Now, why were they trying so hard to hide the name of this ticket winner? Was the real winner possibly murder? Maybe a victim of blackmail? Or maybe even theft? Either way, the whole thing stunk, and the FBI was called in to investigate. Now, it seemed a bit strange when Eddie Tipton, the security director for the multi-state lottery, lived in a 8,500 square foot mansion.
Holy shit, 8,500. Chat, to put it in perspective, most four family houses are like what? 2,000, 3,000? Yeah, this is like insane. This is like a mansion.
Decked out with a 20-seat custom home theater and a basketball court. Now, Eddie didn't make that much money.
For like
His
a family
coworkers
of
at the
four,
lottery often wondered how the hell could he afford a baller mansion when he only made about $90,000 a year. Now, he told his lottery coworkers that his house was just his one vice, and that even
Chat, I have a multi-million-dollar mansion. It's just my vice. I really needed it. Oh, that pile of cocaine over there? Oh, it's nothing. It's just my vice, you know?
even though he was single and in his 40s, that one day he was going to have a huge family. And this story kind of made sense. It was 2007. A lot of people bought homes they couldn't afford. So no one, not even his co-workers at the lottery, suspected a thing. Now, as the FBI investigated the case, it kind of went cold. There wasn't a lot of evidence.
The more I hear about these stories, I just realize how incompetent everyone is. Everyone in every aspect. I'm not talking about police. I'm just saying on a surface level, humans are so incompetent. I'm surprised that like airplanes aren't crashing in the sky and like falling down on people, man. It is insane.
Too many dead ends. Until 4 years later, it ended up on prosecutor Rob Sands' desk. Now, nobody expected him to get anywhere, but Rob Sands was the hot new prosecutor on the block that wanted to make a name for himself. But all Rob had to work with was a grainy video of the dude buying the ticket that they didn't know, and the name of some Better Call Saul Canadian attorney that called in with the winning ticket. So investigators flew up to Canada to interview the first attorney. But then he said that he was actually collecting the ticket on behalf of another attorney that was from Texas. And when they went to that attorney, he said the winning ticket had been given to him by Texas businessman Robert Rhodes. But Robert Rhodes looked and sounded nothing like the guy in that video. So 4 years after having the lottery drawing held, Rob Sands released that video nationwide to ask for help in trying to identify the guy in that video, along with an audio track of his voice.
Smart.
No thanks.
Now, within days, thousands of people called in to the FBI.
Someone's gonna find a rainbow. He would have found it.
guy and it sounded like my grandpa. Oh, it sounded like my coworker. But one name kept coming up. You see, dozens and dozens of lottery employees from across the country had called in and instantly recognized the voice as Eddie Tipton. But this was a little hard to believe. I mean, Eddie Tipton was the security director for the multi-state lottery, meaning he's the guy in charge of making sure no one cheated and legally couldn't even buy lotto tickets. But what were the odds that Eddie Tipton could also pick the winning numbers? The coincidences were too hard. So how were the winning numbers picked for the lottery? Well, back in the day, the numbers were put on ping pong balls, whipped.
Oh my god, I loved watching lottery draws. I don't know what it was when I was a little kid. My parents never engaged in lottery, right? Like, they didn't do it, but every day they would pick them, right? And the colors and the little balls, and then the lady picks them up and she's like, 15, 1, 5, 15. I don't know, it was really fun to watch. You're like a little toddler. It's cute.
Around in a cage, and one by one were taken out in the public eye.
So it was really pretty or blonde.
Was legit. But even this system had problems when lottery workers cheated the game by filling some of the balls with water to improve their own odds, and then when those
what? I mean, I guess that makes sense, but holy
balls exploded on live TV, a new system.
They didn't even catch them cheating. They exploded on television. Caught red-handed, bitch.
System was needed. Now, today, lotteries pick the winning numbers using...
Hold on. Is it actually exploding lottery balls? Lottery balls fly in air during live drawing. Lottery drawing. I want to see it myself. I don't think you can. It must be in the 80s or 70s. Machine used to pick numbers? No.
Computers, but to understand the real genius of how Eddie Tipton cheated, we need to remember that computers never do anything randomly. So, how do you get a random number on a computer? Well, you actually kind of don't. So it starts with an input number and runs it through a complex math problem called the random number generator to output a final number that looks random. But if you have that same input number, you will always get that same final number. And that's kind of the problem. So to get a truly random final number, one that you can use for the lottery, you need a random input number. So lotteries measure the radiation of americium-241 in the air. That number's plugged into a random number generator, and that comes up with the winning lotto numbers. Now, what's americium-241, you might ask? Well, it's the microscopic nuclear fallout from weapons tests over the last 50 years that surrounds everyone on Earth. I mean, it really is no big problem. But remember, each time you take that same input number and run it through the math problem, you will always get that same final random number. So like in a perfect theoretical sense, it actually isn't random. But that was the crack that Eddie Tipton managed to exploit. Now, in January of 2015, Eddie Tipton was arrested for defrauding the Iowa lottery. Now, the feds had a decent amount of evidence against him. Video was clear, the audio analysis matched up with his voice, and even though Eddie said he was out of town the day that ticket was bought, well, his own phone records show that he was in that store at that time when
oh my god,
the winning ticket was bought. Now,
yeah, and you're completely right. It's pseudo-random. This is why I hate it when people say, oh, well, a machine can give you a random number. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Try again. Learn about random numbers. It's not actually random.
Custody, he lawyered up. He didn't say a word about how or if he even did it. And the feds had no idea how he did it. So the only thing they could nail him for was buying a lottery ticket as a lottery worker.
Now again, these fraud charges against Tipton, we're told, are based solely on the belief that he attempted to falsely redeem a lottery ticket and have nothing to do with any evidence that he was somehow able to use his position and expertise to manipulate the game. But
then the skeletons came out of Eddie's closet because Eddie had gotten his job as the director of security for the lottery as a convicted felon for burglary. How does that even happen? Now, in court, Eddie would demand a fast and swift.
Wait. Gas for 184. Oh my god. How did you catch that? I want to throw up. Gas for 184.
trial, but prosecutor Rob Sands actually thought this was odd. Most white-collar criminals don't get caught on the first time they commit a crime. He thought maybe Eddie wanted to shorten the investigation time because maybe there was more fraudulent lottery tickets out there that they hadn't discovered yet. Now, when Eddie was asked about who Robert Rhodes was to him, you know, the Texas business guy that
gulp, he probably went like, oh shit, gulp,
that had the $16 million ticket. Well, Eddie said he had no idea who he was. He didn't know what he looked like. He never even heard of the name. But they were friends on Facebook. They had been co-workers for the last 10 years. They were best friends.
Gulp.
When Eddie Tipton was asked what he did for work, he had failed to mention one little detail, that he was the guy that wrote the program that picked the winning lottery numbers.
Fucking dumbass.
Now, at this point, it looked like an inside job, or it was a huge amount of coincidences that had led Eddie Tipton's best friend to win the lottery. Now, there was one huge problem with this entire case. The computer that—
Yo, chat, let's run a lottery gag, you know, like a little sprinkling. I'm gonna put in 10 million. We're all gonna put like a little bit of money, and then I'm gonna win it, but also you get half of it. Yeah, and I'm the one that programs it. Yeah, I'm the one that programs it. I'll guarantee that you and I win. Yay!
the numbers were used to pick the winning lottery numbers had been wiped clean 3 times over. Now, although there was no evidence about how this actually happened, the feds had a decent theory. Now, the Hot Lotto uses 2 computers that are locked in a room that only 5 people have access to. And you guessed it, Eddie Tipton was one of those people. Now, inside of that room, there's a locked plexiglass box that you need 2 keys from 2 employees to open up. And
yo, that's actually crazy.
Then they pick the winning lottery numbers. And this whole process is recorded on cameras 24/7. So how could have this hacking been done? Those cameras that record 1 frame every minute. Meaning that, theoretically, Eddie Tipton could have gone inside the room for some routine maintenance with another coworker. While that
1 frame every minute? Wait, are you telling me he did it in 60 seconds? No!
Coworker was turned away. In the span of 59 seconds, Eddie Tipton could have put in a USB key, changed an estimated 2 lines of code, and then he would know what the winning lottery numbers are that only he would know about. But in Eddie's defense, there was no evidence of any of this. All of the witnesses testified Eddie Tipton was the man in that video. Even the person that had sold him that lotto ticket and the hot dog said it was him. But Eddie Tipton's defense had a rebuttal to that. They said that that was actually impossible because Eddie Tipton is not a hot dog guy, that he's more of a jack-in-the-box man. And honestly,
to be fair, Jack in the Box is so fucking disgusting and good. Man, that shit is nasty good. My man!
I can tell. So
yeah, he's a big old fatty, you can tell.
What happened here? Eddie Tipton bought the winning lottery ticket, gave that to a good friend named Robert Rhodes, who then gave it to his attorney, who then gave it to another attorney that specializes in hiding money, and that's how he got
hiding money.
The situation. So Eddie had access, Eddie knew how to commit the crime, there were cell phone records, Facebook messages, all going back 10 years that linked him to Robert Rhodes. So the jury would rule guilty, and Eddie would be sentenced to 10 years in jail. But the story is far from over. Now, remember when Eddie said he wanted a fast and swift trial, and Rob Sands thought maybe that was a little bit odd because there was more fraud out there? Well, after the trial, the feds would comb through 44,000 winning lottery tickets across all of the states for over a decade. And they would cross-reference the winners with Eddie Tipton's Facebook friends, phone numbers, LinkedIn's, and some strange coincidences came up.
Oh my god.
November 23rd, 2005, Eddie Tipton's brother won a $600,000 jackpot in Colorado.
Wow,
Eddie Tipton's program was used in Colorado. On December 29, 2007, Robert Rhodes had won $800,000 in Wisconsin. Eddie Tipton's program was used in Wisconsin. On November—
That's like if I owned like a lottery and then I gave all my mods a bunch of lottery tickets that won. How dumb are you?
23rd, 2011, Kyle Kahn, who was a good friend of Eddie Tipton's brother, won $1.2 million in Oklahoma.
Bro.
Eddie Tipton's program was used there. And on December 29, 2010, in Kansas, Eddie Tipton.
No. Chat, what is that? Is that a tattoo on her womb of a dragon? What is that? Is that a womb tattoo of a dragon? It's Mushu? Why on the stomach next to the coochie? Why?
His ex-girlfriend that he met on
Of course.
eHarmony won $22,000.
Oh, he didn't give her $1 million. He only gave her 22 grand to get her to shut up.
Was all this a bit strange? Was this all just God's coincidences? Now, besides Eddie Tipton being the main connection, you might notice that it was only 2 dates that were winning, November 23rd and December 29th. Now, again, I mean, there was no evidence of this program until they found a storage unit that had one computer that was used to do the winning lotto numbers in 2007. Right there in plain sight on the computer, they discovered the code that Eddie had actually used, and it was exactly how they theorized. On those 2 dates, it would put in a specific input number so that the random number generator would be something that Eddie always knew for the winning numbers for the lottery. So with enough evidence to tie him to 5 hacked lottery drawings, Eddie Tipton finally confessed.
Mr. Tipton, I'm Kim from KCCI. What's your reaction to the sentencing today?
Shock.
I'm shocked I got caught.
That's it.
But Eddie claimed that
That guy loves Jack in the Box though, damn.
he was never in the lottery scam business, and actually said he was an accidental felon. He said one day he was playing around with the program and realized a crucial flaw, noticed he could exploit it, and then just left the hacked program there for over
Yeah, you left it and then exploited it for your own personal gains. So you could buy more Jack in the Box tacos.
a decade. I mean, all the
Honestly, I did the
situation
same
was a
thing, for
geeky
sure.
computer hacker who was just messing around with the program, who's so genius that he just, oh, sorry. Oh. And Eddie really believes this, stating, I'm a single guy making about $100,000 a year. I didn't need the money. With that, Eddie Tipton will be sentenced to 25 years in prison, but
Dude,
you
that
would
guy
be
loves
surprised to
Jack in
learn
the
that he's out
Box,
on
damn.
parole, and still claims that he had never done it.
That's it? He never did it. That's it. That's all we get. Dude, that's so good. Check him out, chat. Vince Vintage. Very funny guy.